Hey, I'm Bob. I've been totally blind since birth, and I'm into He-Man. We're talking about episode 6 of the Netflix TV show He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. We're on Orko the Great. So there are going to be spoilers ahead. Watch the episode before listening to my thoughts. And with that being said, I'm getting into this thing. I like the opening scene where Duncan is bound and determined to repair the little arcade drone that saved his life in the last episode. He feels horrible about the drone having been smashed into one of those battle bones. And he's not paying attention to what exactly he's installing. He just knows he needs to get the guy up and running again. I like Anthony Del Rio as Duncan quite a lot. So he's a bit of a nervous talker as he's doing his techno stuff. He works very well with his hands. I tend to think that talking probably helps him, accomplish the process a bit more. And I mean, he doesn't realize that he's found this old data cog. He's been looking around for things to help the little drone get up and running again. And on this data cog is the knowledge and the memories of the original Orko the Great. So when this drone activates, of course, he believes himself to be Orko. And I suppose the Orko that we all knew, the Trollan, he's dead and gone by the time the events of the animated series are happening. He served under King Grayskull about 1,000 years prior. So speaking of King Grayskull, I think this is the episode in which we actually get to hear the name for the first time. I'm not sure though. I've only seen this show, once. This is my second watch through. And we get to see this sparring session between He-Man and the kids. Eldris, I like her history lesson. So we do learn that King Grayskull was the last to wield the power of Grayskull about 1,000 years before the events of the animated series. And the power was deemed too great to be wielded by anyone. That's why King Randor really wants that power sword back. He has made it illegal for anybody to wield the power that sword contains. So, of course, the match, the session is cut short, and the drone is wreaking havoc. He gets mad because no one knows who Orko is. Of course, he thinks himself to be Orko, so he's going to go to Eternos and try to find his court. He wants to be among a group of people that appreciate his talents. So he flies off, and everyone needs to get to Eternos as soon as possible, because if they capture the little guy and connect him to the arcade drone hive mind, all the arcade drones are going to believe themselves to be Orkos. As Duncan says, the Orkening. So we get this great scene with Tuvar and Badra in Eternos, and apparently they are having a bit of a conversation. I guess Tuvar's mistress has kicked him out of the house for something. So we get this bit of a glimpse into the life of an Eternos guard, and it's not a happy time for poor Tuvar at this point, I don't think. So of course we get to see Cronus. He's made his way into Eternos disguised as General Dolus, because that happened at the end of the last episode, and he really wants that Carbonite so he and Evelyn can be powered up by Skeletor, because the Carbonite's going to be able to transfer some of that havoc to them. So that's going on. You have Adam not really wanting to go to Eternos. He doesn't really care what happens to his dad. He's mad because King Randor hasn't come to look for him. He feels like his father hasn't even done anything to find him at all. But all this changes when they get there. I love the scene. We get to see King Randor. He is standing by this statue that has been made, and it is of young Adam and Keldor. And Randor, he is having a moment of silence, I think. He is remembering his son, and he's remembering his brother the only way he can. And Adam actually, he sees his dad, and he's like, well, Dad's right there. My dad is right there. And he's questioning all the conclusions that he's jumped to pertaining to his dad, but they don't get that sweet reconnection. Tila sneezes because she's allergic to Cringer, and Randor turns and he actually sees them. He knows who they are, and they have to beat feet, but everyone knows that they're there. Meanwhile, well, the little Orko drone, he is not doing so well. He's upset because no one believes that he is Orko. I love Tom Kenny's performance as Orko in this episode. I tended to forget he was a drone. I tended to forget he was a robot. To me, he was Orko. And we see Cronus, and I like that bit of his past about him being the weapons master of Eternus. The former man-at-arms comes into play here because he designed all of the arcade drones. He put all that coding into them. So he does this override command, and now he's going to get Orko to reenact this battle that he had with the Colossosaur. Just a little parting gift he leaves before he vacates the city with the Carbonite. So yeah, he's got what he's come for. No one knows that he's there, so he's going to head back to Snake Mountain. I like the little bone call sign that Skeletor wanted them to use. He didn't want him and Cronus to use the snake stuff. He was a little frustrated about that. We didn't get to see much of Skeletor and Evelyn in this episode, but we did get to see them for a minute when the episode started. So then you've got this big battle because, of course, you have the Orko drone. He's summoning all these suits of armor, and he's made this big monster. The poor guards, the Eternos guards, are trapped inside of the hodgepodge armor monster, and so the masters have to master up. And of course, since Duncan was doing a lot of Cronus's work for him, and of course Cronus was taking the credit, as we saw in the first episode, Duncan knows Cronus's password, and it is Cronus is the best at everything. And of course he gets Orko to come back to himself, and he knows he needs to fix all this. So he asks Orko how he defeated the Colossosaur. And of course, Orko says he turned it into a tree. So you got this really funny scene where Duncan is doing his best to repair everything very fast. I think Orko's helping him out as well. And you've got this really cool, I think it's some kind of salsa music that's playing in the background. So then you've got Adam. Everything's in slow motion, but I think Duncan is going pretty fast. I think in some instance, Adam accidentally hits his own face with the power sword. I should say He-Man, and everything's in slow motion as Duncan's working. But of course, things get back to normal. But poor Orko, he goes offline. I'm not aware as to what exactly happened here. I don't know if he used too much of his energy, and he's just not able to function anymore. But before he goes offline, he tells Duncan, he says, "Maker, I am a wizard," because he's fixed everything. And Duncan says, "Yeah, we know." And the little guy closes his optics. And I think when I watched this the first time, I thought that was it for Orko. I thought that was going to be all she wrote, that we weren't going to see him anymore. And I want to say he's in some more episodes, but I've only seen season 1 once. This is my second watch through as I make these videos, so I think we see him again. I'm not sure, though. So I like how the episode ends. We get to see King Randor. He's looking for all of the masters. He has seen them. He knows that they were there, and he wants them brought to justice. He knows they have the sword. I think one of the guards actually calls He-Man Sword Beefcake or something like that at one point. It was pretty funny. And I think Adam has written the note on that statue, and it says that Keldor is alive. So now Randor knows, or he's beginning to realize that Keldor's still out there. I don't think Adam wants to reveal himself, but he wants his dad to know, hey, your brother's out there, and you need to watch out. So I love the episode. There wasn't as much action with Skeletor and his minions, but I like the bit of history that we got at the beginning of the episode. I love Tom Kenny as Orko. Like I said, I kept forgetting that Orko was a robot. Tom Kenny brings so much life to that character. And I haven't said it enough, but I really like Anthony Del Rio as Man-at-Arms this time. He brings a bit of innocence to the character, but at the same time, he knows what he needs to do, and he's really good at fixing things, and I like his big mace, so I think he's one of my favorite characters. It's quite difficult to pick a favorite. Oh, and I forgot to mention that we actually learn Crass's full name is Christine in this episode, and I like her little ditty, her impromptu freestyle ditty about the Masters of the Universe as they were flying to Eternos. Forgot about that. So much to mention about this episode and so little time in which to do it. So yeah, I can't wait to see more of the history of Castle Grayskull and maybe King Grayskull in time. I love all of that lore surrounding Eternia. I think it's one of my favorite parts of the franchise, and I can't wait to see what the writers do with this stuff. Anyway, that'll do for Orko the Great. The final image of the episode was a bit of a sneak peek. The audio description let me know that there would be a big furry-like beast humanoid in the next episode. So we're going to be talking about He-Man the Hunted. I liked that one when I first saw it. So yeah, be here for that. Have a great day, and I'll hear you next time.